Welcome, everybody, to Tri Business International. My name is Bob Babbitt, and we are brought to you by Babbittville and Endurance Sports Wire. With us, Staci Brode from PlayTri. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you.
So we were talking a little bit before we started. You do it all. I mean, you guys are putting out events, you own retail stores, and you're doing the coaching. What came first?
The coaching came first. In 2000, my husband started coaching.
Yeah.
And it's kind of blown up from there.
I was going to say, so you're coaching first, and coaching for running and triathlon, or mainly the sport of triathlon?
Mainly the sport of triathlon. We say our goal is to get people healthy, and we just use triathlon as a tool to do that.
And from coaching, did it get to the point where you felt like, man, we're coaching these people, but they need more races. They need something to do.
Yeah, I think that was the main thing. Was the market didn't have very many events at the time, and we decided we wanted to bring something new and fresh. And at the same time, I mean, it was at the beginning where there weren't a lot of events. We enjoyed it. Yeah. We started putting on a couple of splash and dashes and triathlons, and just kept going from there.
What did you find the challenge of putting on events? Because it's a little mind-boggling. You're getting permits, you're dealing with promotions. It's a different gig than, and there's more of an investment than just coaching somebody.
Definitely. You have to start from even just finding a venue, finding a city that will work with you, finding a route that's acceptable. So it's long-term planning. It's not something you can flip quickly.
Right.
And then the city permitting, a lot of times they don't want to even start permits until the year of the event, but you've got to start marketing and advertising the event. So really reading the city, reading the venue, and just knowing and getting those verbal cues that they're going to move forward before you go and start marketing and advertising an event. And doing it as long as I have, I kind of know pretty well what we're going to be able to move forward with and what we're not. And then just getting the people there. Now now we have so many events that's the cities have built up. Dallas-Fort Worth has really grown up. So all these cities we used to race in are now much larger, much more people.
More complicated.
Yes, it becomes more complicated. And so the main thing is you've got to do a good job for the athletes, but you've also got to do a good job for the community so they're willing to let you come back. You've got to take care of both. And if you don't, you'll find that event go away.
The positive is there's more ways to reach people today, right?
Definitely.
Facebook, Instagram, there's so many more ways to reach people. The negative is there's more ways to reach people. There's a lot more to do. What has been the biggest challenge in terms of keeping your events going and keeping them growing?
What biggest challenge? I just think the sheer number of events makes it complicated.
How many are you doing now?
Well, we have about 40.
40?
Yeah. So half are run and half are tri.
Yeah.
It's a lot, but DFW is nice because it's so spread out.
Right.
So I can put on an event in one market 30 minutes outside of Dallas East and go the next day and put on an event 30 minutes north.
People.
Yeah, different people. And most of all our events are smaller. They're 200 to 300 people.
Yeah.
And what actually happens, in my opinion, is it's not as big of an impact on the city. So it's 200 or 300 people. It's, let's say, for the Kiwanis Club. They're able to raise $10,000 to $15,000 for their charity. We're able to put on a successful event that has minor impact. So instead of coming in, I don't have 40 5,000-person events that are shutting down all these roads.
Right.
So there's minimal impact. And this way people have the variety. They can come and race and pick a weekend and do it instead of building everything around one major large event, traveling and all the other expense. So we're able to get a lot more people to do these smaller, shorter distance because it's local, it's around their community, and it's not impacting the community so dramatically that it's this whole shutdown of the day. So it's been advantageous to us for the smaller events. Would I like to have them larger? Yes, because the event makes more money, and the charity makes more money. But at the same time, it puts us at risk actually of losing the event. So there is some trade-off to these smaller, easier to execute events.
Is there a saturation when it comes to the sport of triathlon? Triathlon has been fairly flat for the last couple of years in terms of numbers. To get it, and I call it endurance entertainment, right? Because you got Spartan Race, you got Tough Mudder, you got Color Run. There's so much else out there. Do you find that the sport of triathlon still resonates with your people and with new people?
I do. What I actually think is interesting about everyone saying it's flat is if you look at it, I think our annual numbers are at the 58%. So that means 32% are new people to the sport every year. That's a big number. And so when you look
That's
at
great.
flat, yes, but that means, I mean, and we see it in the stores, people coming in for their first bike, for their first race. I mean, it hasn't slowed down at the beginner level, in my opinion. I think some of it is people going long too quick. And so they're like, oh my God, I can't commit 30 hours a week of my life. Well, no, you don't have to. Commit 5 to 10 and be healthy for a lifetime. And so jumping longer, quicker, I see, is more of an issue for the sport maybe than, and I'm not saying don't go long, because everyone loves to go long.
Yep.
I'm saying you can go up and you can go down. The lifestyle is what it's all about. And when you find that and the people that love that, they'll stay forever. They can come and go. But when you go from 0 to Ironman,
Yes.
it becomes hard to think you have to commit all that time because people can't. It's not sustainable. So helping people find the balance of it's okay to do only sprints this year is where I think the sport has to do a little bit of concentration of. Yeah, I think, I mean, Ironman and long distance, they do an incredible job.
Absolutely.
And they're the reason, one of the main reasons we've grown, the sport has grown. But I still think we've got to make people realize it doesn't have to be all long or not, and we'll see the numbers go right back up again because we want people to have a sustainable, healthy lifestyle, and that can be all the way to sprint, going hard and fast, or going long and maybe slow.
So I mentioned earlier that you're so well-rounded because you're, besides putting on the events, besides doing the coaching, you now have retail stores. Now,
Yes.
Talk about a leap. When you start talking about buying bikes, and you can't just have a small skeleton selection of bikes in your store. You have to have the full thing or people don't come back. That's pretty risky. How many stores are you doing, and how scary was it when you got into the retail world?
Well, we have 5 stores now. We
Okay.
started with 1. And what we learned quickly is we had to have the retail, which we'd known from before, but we're really a coaching company. We were a performance center. We opened a pro shop. We literally used to take all of our bikes and wheels and hide them in a closet in the back office because we're so scared someone was going to break in and steal everything we owned.
Right.
It was 10 bikes and 10 sets of wheels. And then what we realized is we had to make the investment in the inventory. And so we basically have just taken every dollar and put it right back into every store and everything we do, and have just taken everything and committed to it. Because you have to carry the inventory and the variety, which is very hard for people to do because this stuff is very expensive. But triathletes are gadget driven. They're not apparel driven. This isn't the run industry. It's not a fashion. It is definitely gadget and gear driven. And so you have to be willing to commit. So it's either all in or you won't be around. It's one of the two. So you have to take the risk. And luckily, my husband and I work really hard and we work really well together. And so we were able to take that risk. And it's also, we have an advantage over most retailers because we have the events and we have the coaching. So we have we're constantly putting on events. Coaching is 12 months out of the year. We've got workouts coming out of the stores and all these different things going on versus if you're a bike shop, you're busy from March to October and maybe a little in December, but we've constantly got with the events and with the coaching, people coming in, shopping, looking and engaging as well as spending.
Do you see a change that you started in early 2000s? Do you see a change in the people who are in our sport? Or is it still, I mean, from when we all got into it, it changes our life, right? It makes you better at everything you do. Is there a change or is it still that same MO?
It still definitely changes people's lives.
Yes.
Definitely. There's no doubt about that. It's so, I still get inspired by people, and I still have people come to me that I don't remember that are like, in 2004, you told me to put my head under the water. And I'm like, okay, that's my usual shtick, and I'm like, okay, the water's cold, put your head under so you don't hyperventilate. But do I think, it has changed. It's not I don't think we have there's still the hardcore intensity.
Sure.
But you have more of the everyday person. There's an A-type in every single one of us. It's just how deep is it in there? But I do think we're progressing to where we're more open to the general population. So it's not all about riding 100 miles and, who rode the longest and who ran the longest and all about the sport. It's becoming more of a general sport. And I say, I want us to be like swimming and running and all of that. And some people hold that and they don't want to. But in my opinion, that's all about overall getting people healthy. I mean, it's not about the sport. It's about how many people in this country, in a country where we have so much obesity, that we can share this lifestyle with. It's amazing the opportunity we have because I would say you can go to swimming and you can go to running and they don't change people's lives like triathlon does. And if you can explode that and expand that, it has huge implications at work for people.
Yes.
It has implications for the healthcare industry. It changes people's lives. So why wouldn't we want everyone to be doing it?
What I love is when you first got into this, it was to make people healthier. And it sounds like that hasn't changed one bit.
No, it has not. Never will.
Love it. Staci Brode has been our guest. Thank you, Staci. Congratulations on everything you guys are doing with PlayTri.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Hold on, everyone. We will be right back.